ego is a touchy subject, you know. It's a really touchy subject, especially when it comes to leadership within a relationship. So I'm gonna say something that probably will stress people out, but I don't give a hoots. I don't want to fight with you and tussle with you to lead this relationship. If I have to fight and tussle with you, you're gone. I haven't got the time. I've got the energy. If you don't see me as a leader, be gone. In fact, let me go. Let me go. Let me leave you. We struggle with this issue because, and listen, I love you, women, black women. I love you. Okay, I love you. I do. I do. But there seems to be this always a case of trying to blame us for why you are not able to take leadership. Now, whilst I do believe that the community has suffered because black men, as I always say, are leaders and have caused issues within the community, one being that exposure left children for alone and not been in a home. I believe that. But the second issue is you grown now. You're gonna have to take responsibility and change that, right? You grown. You're gonna have to take responsibility and change that, because what's happening is, like I said, and I'll say this about the Kayla situation. I said this on the own network as well, and I said the same thing. If they're tussling with you in terms of leadership, they're gonna struggle. And the difference between Brandy and Kayla, there's not much. I'll be honest with you. Maybe one's a bit more sexy than the other in terms of how they present themselves and the way they maneuver their body, but really and truly, there's not much. But one seems to say, I'll let you lead. That's fine by me. You do your thing. And the other seems to be in a tussle. Taking into account also what Swayze also said, which was really interesting. He said, whenever you tell Kayla a story, she tries to one up it. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit tight, right? So, again, whether we think Mike is a game player, whether he's being moving mad, I agree that he is, and I'm the first person to call it out, right? But if we just talk in general aspects as well, and talk about the relationship aspect, you can present to me, and you can say I don't agree with your leadership, so I'm not going to go underneath it. But you would still carry that same feminine energy where you want to be led. That doesn't mean you have to go with me. Do you understand? If you've got that feminine energy and you see me and think to myself, he's not really a good leader, so I'm not going to be around him, you still presenting feminine energy. You're still presenting it. You know what I mean? It doesn't. You don't have to choose me, right? And you can still show that feminine energy just because. And what I struggle with is sometimes, and I've said it myself, and I think it's incorrect to say so. I think there should be a two-sided prong, which is if you have to wait for me to be a masculine man for you to be feminine, then you were never feminine in the first place. Like you're asking for me to be masculine first before you become your feminine. You should be feminine already, right? You should be feminine already, and vice versa. You're asking me, I should be masculine already. I shouldn't be waiting for you to be feminine before I can be masculine. But if I'm tussling with you back and forth, we're not gonna get nowhere. Do you know what I mean? If I'm having to fight you on the leadership aspect, we ain't gonna get nowhere. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying this is how I look. This is how I see certain things. It doesn't mean that Brandy's even the right person. It doesn't mean that even that Brandy is the perfect kind of woman. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about behavior here. I'm not talking about the person. I'm talking about behavior here. I want people to be very, very clear. Behavior here. That's what I'm talking about. Someone might say, well, Kayla might have saw Mike and knew he was an F-boy. I think Titi put that. That wouldn't change her being more feminine, though. She can still be feminine and say, that's not for me. Do you know what I'm saying? Just, that's my personal sentiments and thoughts. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What are you saying, Sean? Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think that's the danger in this new age conditional femininity conversation that we have. It's like plug and play, right? So if you show me, I'll show you. It's like if you show me yours, I'll show you mine. No, you should present as who you are. Just like we were talking about, the Tranika thing. It's like be who you are. Don't be somebody different. And I don't think th- we can boil down some of the things that Kayla does as feminine, masculine, or we can call it out the behavior and it's combative. So I don't think a combative person changes who they are. If I'm combative, I'm going to be combative with anybody I'm with. Now, does it mean I might be more combative with somebody that is as combative as I am because it's going to bring out the worst in us? Absolutely. But it's not going to make my combativeness go away either. It doesn't mean it disappears and it just goes into the atmosphere like mist. No, it's there. It's part of who she is. So until she chooses to change who she is or change some aspects of her personality, then it's going to be what it's going to be, right? Because Swayze already said it's like she has to one up you. And that's somebody that's always hunting for attention. That's like, I want to be seen, I want to be heard, I want to be acknowledged. If every time you tell me a story, oh my God, I met this person, oh, it was like the worst experience, right? And they weren't a bad person, but we'd be like, this is the time we had like a young adult Bible study, and somebody was talking about an illness, and then all of us, out of a sudden, they had an even worse illness, and we're like, whoa, where did that come from? We're like, here we go with the attention-seeking behaviors again. It's like, and that's not because there wasn't a masculine man in the room or whatever. It's because that's who that person is. They're attention-seeking or they're combative. So, yeah, I don't think like that's not always the answer, ladies. So sometimes when you're like, well, I just haven't met the right man to make me fall out of my masculine. No, because even if you do meet the right one and you're still behaving in that way, you're gonna treat him like that. So if you got so accustomed to doing things one way that you just act that way, it's gonna be hard for you to change that because you're defending the behavior. And I don't think you need to be submissive to every man that's in your presence, but you should be respectful. And just as the same as you want a man to be respectful to you, whether he's with you or not, right? And I think that's the point, right? Or be nice. You can be nice to anybody, right? It doesn't cost anything to be nice. So be nice. You shouldn't need a alpha masculine man to show up and be nice and respectful. And no, I'm not saying Kayla is disrespectful. I'm just using different examples of people's behavior. And I do think she's combative. She's combative and she's going to go toe to toe with you. And sometimes straight out the gate, unwarranted. Right? So if that's a part of your personality, you're going to do that with anybody. And maybe you'll do it less with a different person, but you're still going to do it.